And of those, 81 are considered not under control, 88 are being observed, 11 are being held, and 11 are under control. There are 10 communities that have already been evacuated or have evacuations underway, and 4 more communities are under warning or preparing for possible evacuations. Evacuees are being hosted in Thunder Bay, Cornora, Fort Frances, Lac Seul, Sioux Lookout, Sudbury, Red Lake, Niagara Falls, and Toronto. I want to thank each of these communities and all the organizations who are assisting in this process for the compassion they've shown in stepping up to support their fellow Ontarians in their time of need. To support these communities, our government is working collaboratively across ministries and with a range of external partners to establish supports for people evacuating. This includes transportation, accommodation, food, and registration services. We're also providing support with air purifiers and air scrubbers to help communities remain in place. My message to all those who've been forced to evacuate is very simple. Our government stands with you and will always have your backs. As of this morning, more than 150 fire crews are on the ground. And in the last few days, the number of water bombers and helicopters deployed and operating has risen to over 80. And an additional 39 aircraft are ready to be deployed to the highest needs area. I want to acknowledge the incredible support we're already receiving from the governments of Alberta and the Yukon, who have crews on the ground in Ontario right now supporting our efforts. On Wednesday, we also requested that the federal government, including the Canadian Armed Forces, be prepared to rapidly deploy federal resources to support the evacuations taking place now and any that may become necessary. Yesterday, we received confirmation from the Federal Minister of Emergency Management that the federal government is ready to support as necessary. I want to thank the Canadian Armed Forces and the OPP for their heroic work to date, including their involvement in a search and rescue of campers trapped near wildfires in Northern Ontario. Ontario Corps is also ready to deploy, and we have reached out to impacted municipalities to see where it can be most effective. For real-time updates on the most recent status of fires and evacuation notices, you can visit ontario.ca/forest fires or call 211, who have added more frontline capacity so they can respond to non-urgent calls 24 hours a day in more than 150 languages and provide up-to-date information to help impacted Ontarians. I want to reiterate, sorry, my tongue's getting tied here, reiterate that our government will not spare a single penny to protect communities and keep people safe. Since 2018, we've spent nearly $1.5 billion on wildland firefighting, more than doubling annual base funding from $70 million when we took office to $150 million today. That base funding ensures that firefighters, aircraft, and equipment are in place before fire season begins. But that isn't where the funding ends. Firefighting is based on need. So while the base budget is $150 million, every year we spend significantly more than that. For instance, last year, the base budget was $135 million, but the actual spending was more than double that at $271 million. What I find despicable and disgusting, that opposition would politicize the amount of money being spent and going out there and putting false information out. And it's inaccurate, It's untruthful. In a time of a crisis, all levels of government need to come together, no matter if you're opposition or not. But to go out there and try to scare people and put out blatant lies about the amount it's spent is absolutely disgusting on their behalf. Ahead of this fire season, we added 68 new permanent positions on top of the 100 positions we added last year. We increased compensation for wildland firefighters, pilots, aircraft maintenance, engineers, and other critical frontline staff, so we can continue to recruit and retain the dedicated professionals we need to keep Ontario safe. We're also strengthening our fleet of firefighting aircraft by investing $650 million, which is the largest purchase in Ontario and Canadian history, to purchase 5 new helicopters and 6 new water bombers. We will not put a price on the safety of our communities, and I mean it when I say that we will spare no expense. I'll repeat that, spare no expense, like we have year after year after year. Once again, I want to thank the brave men and women who are working around the clock to fight these fires and protect our northern communities. And I want to assure them that we will have their backs no matter what. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario.
We will now take questions from the media. Media can come to the microphone and state their name and outlet. Just a reminder, the format is 1 question and 1 follow-up. First question.
Hi, Lane Harrison, CBC News. I just have one for you, Premier, about the communities in the north. There's been some criticism from the Indigenous communities that have had to evacuate of your Ministry of Natural Resources, with White Sand First Nation saying in particular that the Ministry of Natural Resources didn't see the fire that raged through Collins until it was too late, and there's been some frustration about the evacuation process as well. Just what do you have to say to those communities who are frustrated with the response?
Well, before I pass it over to the minister, we are throwing every single resource we can. When you have 191 infernos running right across our province, we're deploying it based on the firefighters' expertise. We aren't the experts, they're the experts. And if they find there's one area that's burning out of control for one reason or another, we're going to listen to them. We don't direct our police, we don't direct our firefighters. We're there to support them any which way we can. I've talked to a number of chiefs and telling them that we're there to support them. But what's a miracle that no one's lost their lives? Because the incredible work our frontline firefighters, OPP, paramedics do an incredible job. Our Canadian Armed Forces, no one has lost their lives, and thank God. I'll pass it over to the minister.
Well, thanks very much, Premier. In regards to what's happened over the last 72 hours, it's obviously been very difficult. When we're looking at these fires specifically, how they started, how they spawned, and just sort of looking at Collins, just to sort of directly address your question. That particular fire started very, very close to community, which is something unusual. And we didn't really have a whole lot of lead time to be able to then get crews over there from the other fires that they were already fighting. I think at the time we had roughly 180 fires on the go. So we worked with the community, obviously, to advise them, of course, and they were able to evacuate and get out, which is obviously number one. That is our number one priority. And we're going to continue to work with them over the next little while in regards to kind of how things are going to flow. And obviously, we've got them safe now in Thunder Bay, which is incredible. And thank you to Minister Dunlop and her team for the work they're doing now to keep those people housed on the ground. So certainly a very tricky situation. We're working with First Nations partners all across the province, constant communication on a daily basis. Not just obviously First Nations, but also unorganized townships and municipalities as we deal with a pretty troubled time.
Hi, Premier. Alyssa Mendez with the Canadian Press. It seems like most, if not all, of the First Nations communities that have been evacuated have been under self-evacuation orders. Why have those not come from the provincial government, and what are the criteria for ordering wildfire evacuations?
Mike, you want to take that one, or?
Yeah. So when we move forward with evacuations, there's a few different ways that it works. Communities, of course, are more than welcome to self-evacuate if it makes sense for them. Often, usually what will happen first is they try to get vulnerable people out of communities. So folks with health issues, seniors, mobility issues.
Hello? Okay. That's interesting. Okay, it's not sure what happened there, but we get it figured out.